All right, let's take you through what's happening with Air India a year after the crash. 1 year after the Air India AI-171 crash, which claimed 260 lives, a controversy that's now brought the tragedy back into the spotlight, is Radhika Rupani, daughter of former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, who was among those killed in the crash, the Air India crash, has now alleged that Air India company has approached families of all the victims with a full and final settlement document, asking them to sign those documents and basically help them waive the present and future legal claims while accepting compensation. The Air India is basically asking for this even before a final probe report is out or tabled. The allegation here has sparked a lot of concerns among some families who argue that this final investigative report, in fact, looking into exactly why the crash happened, what really happened, that report is yet to come. While that's awaited, Air India is pushing for signatures from the victims' families to end the case. Well, Air India says it's no pressure. We're not forcing anyone to sign those documents. It's up to them if they want to take the compensation, no pressure at all. But, well, the disaster is still really hard to digest for families of the Air India crash. Air India has strongly denied the wrongdoing, but families say that this kind of pressure is not fair. In a letter to the family, the airline itself, Air India as the airline itself, has responded, saying that it has not imposed any deadline for accepting compensation and that families are entirely free to basically wait for the final investigative report before actually making a decision themselves. The airline maintains that the compensation process is separate from the investigation and that no pressure is being exerted on families of the victims at all. So it's all up to them, their decision. They can wait if they want to. They can take compensation and then still wait for the report to come out. That's not interlinked. Air India says it's two separate things. Air India says interim compensation of 25 lakhs has already been paid to 96% of the families of those who lost their loved ones in the crash. Separately, the Tata Group has backed AI-171 Memorial as well, and Welfare Trust has provided 1 crore ex gratia assistance to most eligible families too. But for many relatives of the victims, the issue is, of course, not just about compensation. It's about understanding why 260 lives were lost, what really happened, who's accountable, and who should be taking this responsibility, and whether lessons are learned at all. As the first anniversary of the crash now approaches, the final investigation remains awaited. The debate now centers around, should families be really asked to sign any document before a final detailed investigative report is tabled? Well, let me quickly bring in our guest joining us, J.S. Rawat, former Joint Director General, DGCA. We also have Sumit Susilan, who's an aviation expert, and Sanjay Lazar, aviation expert. Thanks very much, all of you, for joining us. Let me start with J.S. Rawat. Sir, how does this work in other countries? When a crash happens, before an investigative report is tabled, compensation is usually given. It seems like Air India is following that trend, but victims here are feeling very pressured. Would you give us some clarity? Is Air India on the right? Are they really following protocols by giving compensation, and for that signatures are needed? And if the victims' families do sign it, it means that they are basically agreeing to take compensation and close the case? If at all tomorrow a report suggests something else, then are they at the raw end of the stick? Do they have the raw end of the stick?
The compensation to the victims is given as per the norms laid down by the International Civil Aviation Organization, and Air India has this thing distributing the compensation as per that. And in addition to that, they have also announced that 25 lakhs each to the compensation victims. Now the question is whether they lose their right in this direction or not. In what happens abroad, that the claim is made by the every individuals also, depending on their value or whatever you say, that so they can make that they can also file for the compensation as per their status and all those kind of things. But here in this case, there's no they can take the compensation right now, reserving their rights to have for the seeking additional compensation. Then additional compensation, if they are somebody is asking, suppose person is a millionaire, a billionaire, he dies in the accident, and then because he has to get the compensation as per whatever his remaining life is there, and as per the thing he is going to then he has to calculate all these things. So it has nothing to do with the crash accident, because he can file the claim as on date also that his worth was like that, and he requires this much a compensation, irrespective of the reason that whether the accident has happened for whatever reason. So it has nothing to do with the accident investigation final report. He
No,
has to
but
ask the compensation as per
suppose the families do accept a final settlement. Basically, this is compensation, and they accept the final settlement. They sign some documents which Air India is asking them to sign. The families are still aggrieved, and they are still waiting for some kind of conclusive report to show what happened. Right? They still believe that, and all of us believe that there could have been an error from some end. Right, and whose end is it? Who should be taking responsibility? It can't just happen out of thin hair. Thin hair.
Okay.
Does that
For example,
does that give the family, now if they sign it, will this mean they can't pursue any legal case against Air India in the future?
that's what I was trying to make the point, that everybody can ask for the compensation as per his stature and as per his values. So if suppose a millionaire is there, then he can ask for compensation that he's lived this much of life and he was supposed to live this much, and as per that he has to get the compensation like that. This can be done irrespective of the reason of the accident. Whether it was the Air India's fault, for example, we agree that it is 100% Air India's fault. But in that case, the compensation will be given to any individual as per his stature and as per his value.
Okay, but can I ask you if this is, in fact, let me bring in Sumit Sushilan on this. Does it take over a year to investigate a crash as big, of this nature, where you have, over 200 victims, a Boeing company, Air India, that is run by Tata and Sons, all the big companies with the biggest names investigating and probing into this, takes 1 year and more to...
Yeah, we had seen similar cases in Malaysia Airlines crash also. It takes more than 3 years to get a report from there. So definitely such incidents sometimes take a long time, but definitely right now I think Air India and the AIB had given the initial report. And tomorrow we are expecting the next report. Definitely it's not going to be a final report. But before that, why Air India is in hurry to get a declaration signed by every individual family? That's giving a false, sign, like why it's happening now. Why suddenly they had increased the, amount which they already had given a compensation. Now the compensation they had increased particular. So definitely it's creating a doubt that do Air India got
No.
any?
Sumit, what are you trying to suggest? Explain to us clearly.
I would like to say, like, if Air India have some information regarding what happened in the crash, might be that can be a reason why they want to increase the compensation and want to get a declaration signed by every family, so that
So
if
you're saying that this is unusual, that Air India is pushing families to sign this declaration even before
yes,
the report is out?
yes, this is unusual because they already had given the compensation to 96% of family. Why the another compensation coming up in the later stage? Why do they got any information from any of the departments that there is some fault from the Air India or the technical fault from the company? This is a question mark, definitely.
Sanjay Lazar, do you concur? Does this sound suspicious to you, that Air India is asking for a some documents to be signed and basically a settlement with the victims' families even before a report is out? 2 rounds of compensation. Is this overcompensating?
Good evening, Nabila. First of all, I'm not sure you're aware. I lost my entire family in the Kanishka 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm also an aviation lawyer.
Yeah.
So I've dealt with this and 2 Air India Express crashes. This is a typical tactic of even the government of India when it owned Air India. This is the tactic that Pan Am did with Lockerbie. I am in touch with global accidents of aviation disasters for the last 30 years. I am also have been the trade union general secretary of the Cabin Crew Association. I have negotiated over 4 aircraft accidents in India. Every corporate, every law firm does this, and nobody has to sign it. This is a carrot and a stick measure. And I disagree with Mr. Rathi, with Mr. Your first guest from the DGCA. Once you sign this, you are foreclosed. Okay, you are foreclosed from raising anything. And I'll give you a point immediately. Recently, Lion Air. Lion Air interim report was pilot error. 60 days, 90 days later, you had Ethiopian Airways. Then the MCAS scandal came into being. Thereafter, the FAA looked into it. A year later, they changed the report and made the final report as a Boeing fault. Everybody was liable. I mean, the company, the airline, the government, and the manufacturer was liable to billions of dollars, and therefore lawsuits followed. Now, in this particular case, the airline Air India and their lawyers are asking people who want to get compensation. I myself was asked this 40 years ago by the government of India's lawyers. I have been through this process.
What?
I also can tell you there were people who had filed cases in California during Kanishka who were not given benefits till they withdrew. So there is a linkage, and
So, but if Air India says this compensation is irrespective of what the report finally
So
concludes,
then do not have the undertaking say it is full and final settlement. I will not raise any claims later. Because tomorrow, if there is liability found, let's say on Boeing, once you sign this, you are foreclosed from doing that. Please understand the distinction. The document, and I've looked at some people's document. It's not that I'm out of the aviation market. I consult. I do get a lot of families, people who are in trouble, who always consult with us. Then the document should not say that. I have read the letter to Mr. Rupani. Air India itself has sent it to me. And Air India is this is what any corporate would do. I don't hold Air India responsible for this. Please, let's make it very clear. This is what, if it was British Airways, they would do the very same. If it was Lion Air, they did the same. If it's Singapore Airlines or Japan Airlines tomorrow, they would do exactly the same. They are trying to minimize contingent liability in the case of the Montreal Convention. Let's understand, where does the compensation come from? They are due 179,000 odd SDR, which works out to about 1.8, 1.79 crores, depending on the currency fluctuation of the dollar rupee. Now, beyond and above that, if it is proven negligence or liability of, let's say, the aircraft manufacturer or the engine manufacturer, then the people who have lost their families are liable to more money, more compensation. But once you sign this, you are signing something which forecloses your right to litigate beyond that. Okay, so this is the distinction. You will not be able to claim after this. And I've got Air India Express 2 cases.
can I read out what Air India's statement says?
Yes,
In
please.
response to Vijay Rupani's daughter, who's raised a red flag saying, why are we forced to sign documents accepting compensation? We are being forced to do it. That's what she says. And in response, Air India has said, our offer of final compensation did not set out any timetable for acceptance. Families are entirely free to wait until the investigation report has been released, as some have chosen to do so already. This is Air India's response. So they say that you can accept it at whatever time you want. There's no rush. While even Tata and Sons has basically backed this statement, and they say that that they are doing everything to honor the victims and their families, and a memorial is being set up, and of course, the scale of compensation is possibly the highest that we've seen in Indian aviation history. The airline says interim payments of 25 lakhs has already been made to 96% of the families. In addition, 94% of those injured have also received that money, along with 1 crore compensation already given. So, 1 crore plus 25 lakhs, this is approximately the amount that's being given to the families. But according to Air India, this is not an expedited document that needs to be signed and submitted. It's just up to them when they want to do it. So, are you saying these are words in disguise?
No, ma'am. There is a distinction between what you read and I said. Let's be very clear. And what Dr. Sushilan said. There are two things. One is, there is no time-bound signing. And the second part is, if you sign, you foreclose your right. They're two separate things. Let's understand, they're two separate pillars. So I can wait 5 years for the final report, or I can sign now. The moment I sign, I have no more litigation. Let's be
So,
very,
but
very
JS Rawat says that these are two separate things. Mr. Rawat, how do you say that there are two separate things? Sanjay Lazar says clearly that this is the same thing. You either, if you sign now, and if you think that you're getting compensation now, a lot of families who are actually, struggling, they could very well go into signing it and taking the compensation immediately. That would mean that any further legal appeal, if they want to make in the future against the airline or anyone else or anything related to this incident, their rights have been taken away with those signatures.
Because these are the legal things. Now, how they are trying to resolve it, the Air India is asking the at front that they are asking the foreclosure of their further rights of the compensation after getting this receiving this compensation. Now legally, how can they still protect their interest? That is a legal issue basically. They can take the compensation whatever the right now they are taking, and after that they can reserve their right to ask for the additional compensation after the final report has come up. So that has to be seen legally how it can be resolved.
No, so you're saying, are you saying that it's two different things as Air India claims, or are you agreeing with Sanjay Lazar that it's the same thing? If once you sign it, your rights to fight this case any further is taken away.
That's what I am saying, that Air India is asking that that is a final, whatever you are taking, that is a final, and after that the matter is closed for further compensation. Now what people are looking for, that they can look for the further compensation after this thing coming after the report. So how it can be protected legally? Whether they can accept whatever their compensation they are getting from the Air India and still have the right to ask for the more in the future. That has to be seen legally, basically.
Can you tell me now what's the best way out for Air India families, the victims' families? And also, if at all the report suggests systemic failure, in a situation like this, in this crash, if once a report is out, whatever the failure may be, technical, operational, regulatory, who takes the responsibility? Who ideally should, be owning up? Yeah.
Nabila, basically, if any fault comes from the Boeing side, okay, there has $1 billion loss for Boeing. They have to ground all the aircraft flying globally. It's going to be $1 billion loss for it. If Boeing comes for a compensation, everyone should get millions of dollars. That will be the minimum compensation. So it's something they are cutting off that loophole so that they don't have to pay in future. So definitely, I should say that no one should get on the trap of this letter which Air India is giving right now. It should not, because definitely there's a technical error could pass a year, around 3 to 4.
So if it's a technical error, that's Boeing's problem. Should Air India worry? Should Air India worry?
Of course, both are in the same place.
How? How does this work? How does that work then? How does that work?
Basically, if it's a technical error, the aircraft is flying for past 10 years. And who is doing the maintenance of the aircraft? Air India. So Air India is equally responsible along with the Boeing. And even the engine players, the Honeywell is the manufacturer of the engine. Even they are responsible for this. So definitely, if the technical errors, everyone is responsible equally over here, not only Boeing.
Okay, Sanjay Lazar, a quick one on that. When there are, if a report establishes technical, operational, regulatory errors, then who really bears the responsibility? Is it the airline? Is it the manufacturer or the regulator? Or just like Sumit said, all of them are equally responsible, all stakeholders.
All of them are responsible, but the insurer bears the brunt. So when you foreclose, now you raise this subject, I was involved in an Air India Express matter. The final passenger got 7.75 crores from the Kerala High Court. I'm just putting that there for you. So please understand, because he was a doctor and he was a cardiologist, like Mr. Rawat correctly said, he did not sign, his family did not take anything, they fought and the Kerala High Court awarded. So I'm trying to tell you that you can, obviously there will be poorer people, there will be people desperate who want to sign. I signed, let me be honest, 40 years ago I signed. And I could not claim the same kind of compensation Canadian families did when they went to court in Canada. I didn't get that.
So what did the Canadian families do differently that time?
They fought in Canadian courts and they got 100x of what we got as Indian families. I got a job and I was very happy. I served 37, 40 years, and I have no, I mean, I was a kid then. But what I'm trying to point out here is, let's not miss the wood for the trees.
And how
One-
long did their legal battle go on?
4-5 years. It's not like us. It's not like us. Ours will go on for 40 years.
More-
Over there, it didn't go on. for that long.
I thought 3 years was a lot.
No. No.
Do we
Court
know
cases-
anything about that Malaysian Airlines?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What was the conclusive report on that?
Still
3
not
years later?
concluded.
Still not
It's still
concluded.
not
Exactly.
concluded, and it's still open, and there is an investigation going. So here,
So 3 years on, you don't know what happened to that Malaysian aircraft that disappeared.
and you wouldn't know
Every year we
till
get the
they
reports
close
on
the
that.
case.
Still.
Over here, Air India has made a fair offer, and it's open to everybody to accept or reject it. Obviously, they go in with their eyes open, and
So
their
you're
lawyers-
saying it's a fair offer. Are you saying it's a fair or an unfair offer?
No, I'm saying any airline, any corporate in the world would do it. You just have to be strong. If you want to hold out for it, yes. Like Miss Rupani in London would like to hold on for it. I saw a video recording of her brother who says, "No, I trust them. I'll do what they say." So it's you're splitting hairs. It depends on the need of the people involved. I'm not saying that Air India is trying to do bad by the passenger. It's done by every airline. Let's not try and color this differently. It's done by every corporate. It's done by Pepsi Cola.
No, I understand. I'm not going to generalize this that all corporates do it. But let's speak of Air India specifically. It's a big case that we need to learn from. What really happened. At least that's something that the victims' families deserve to know, right?
Of course,
Whose
of course.
fault was it? That's what they deserve
much.
to know. Now, if they sign this document and accept the compensation, then they have no right to pursue any case in the future. That's what I understand from all of you here. So how should they hold out? Sumit, would you be able to guide the families if they are watching us today? How should the families hold out and hold up? If they're being offered that big sum of money, it's very hard not to accept it. A lot of them had their breadwinners on that flight who died.
Definitely, the Air India have to take out this declaration form back. They should compensate them with the 1 crore if they are paying. At least they should get this amount without signing any document. How the 26% had got 25 lakh rupees, same way they should get this 1 crore as well if they are paying them without getting a paper signed. So that should be like my point, that definitely Air India is doing some good thing, that paying the amount to the needy families, because definitely not everyone who are flying are rich. So people who need, because there are people who are breadwinners for their family who are no more right now. So definitely Air India should pay them without any declaration signed.
But will any company give you money without any signatures?
Definitely.
JS Rawat?
That's what I said, that legally it has to be seen whether somebody wants to accept the compensation, whatever is offered by the Air India right now, and at the same time protect his interest legally to ask for the more compensation.
Okay, so you're basically.
Yes, that is a legal issue basically, which has to be debated basically that way.
I don't know if they have advocates who are fighting a case for all of them collectively, or each one of them are having their own lawyers that they are fighting through. I know for a fact that the British nationals who were on board have one American law firm that's fighting for them collectively. But for the Indians, I'm not too sure actually if there's someone doing it for them collectively or if they're all fighting individually. Like I said, and I'm going to stress, a lot of the families are struggling financially. So it's very hard for them to get this kind of legal, help or backing. But finally, Sanjay Lazar, I don't know, if you have to say do or don't, what would be your response to families watching? Should they or should not they sign?
I'd say get a good lawyer to get together in a group, just as you said.
Yeah.
Get a good lawyer and settle with Air India, but keep the option for Boeing and the engine manufacturers, etc., open. You can separate the two very easily. And this is what I would advise anybody, because Air India seems to be going out on a limb. If you are in dire need of money, separate the two, because God forbid, and Nabila, I say this with all honesty and sincerity, God forbid that, the report eventually says that there was some issue with a fuel switch or with Boeing's design, like happened in the 737 MAX. Then, we are looking at billions of dollars liability on Boeing Corporation. or Honeywell, like Dr. Susilan said, or the engine manufacturer. Why should a family from Ahmedabad or Mumbai or Delhi or Gorakhpur, give a clean sheet to any of these American corporations? I wouldn't agree.
And
Yes.
we know how Boeing has been dodging a lot of investigations.
Yes.
It's not new for them. This is one of the many cases that they're being probed for. So, and Boeing has really managed to hold out through this, and they're still thriving. That's the kind of lobby they have. They're able to stay safe despite several allegations in the past and ongoing. It's a billion-dollar industry and stakes are high, so they've got enough backing, I suppose. But if you really look at it closely, so far Boeing says that it is complying with the investigation thoroughly, but we're not too sure how long this would take for an actual conclusive report to come and be tabled. But for now, I really appreciate all of you joining us, and condolences to the family. It's 1 year now since the Air India crash, and investigation continues right there.